Your protons, your atoms, it's in your heart. It's in spaces that you have to believe exist, but that you can't see with your eye.
So remember when I said my mom said I could ask her anything? Well, here's an awkward moment in the life of Nika Sherelle. I asked my mom to take me to an adult novelty store for my 18th birthday. Her reply? Why don't you ask your cousin to take you? But to her credit, she got over it and we had a blast. This month's question was, how do you love yourself? I'm discovering that when I show love authentically to someone, I'm also showing love to myself. If I don't love myself, I can't love unconditionally. And it takes being able to receive love to stand in the presence of it. Often we block or ignore our own needs for love for the needs of someone else. Children, parents, romantic partners. We can emote love actions without actually connecting to the presence of love. I discovered that kind of behavior breeds resentment. So now, I love myself by staying present to the love that surrounds me each day and let go of the safeguards of resistance. That's how I love myself. So community, what say ye?
Keeping a piece of your time and your life for yourself is self-love, including yourself in the rotation of your love and your caring.
How do I love myself? I guess I'm kind to myself. I forgive myself. When I screw up, I cut myself some slack. And I try to remember, I guess, that the most important relationship I have is with myself. So, and it also means occasionally loving myself, means shopping at Anthropology and getting a massage.
Well, my favorite is actually mirror work. We all have a mirror accessible to us, probably in our bathroom at least, if not behind our bedroom door. And I try to spend at least 10 minutes a day in communication with myself. Some people call it positive affirmations or declarations where you say, I love myself, you're good enough. And that could be valuable for some, but for me, I actually have a present moment-to-moment conversation. And it's like I become split personality. It's like two parts of my psyche are in communication with each other. And I can go very deep. And I can sort out lots of profound obstacles that are challenged within my life. It's just a way that I help ground, and no one knows us best like ourselves. Something I say to a lot of my clients is, you're the expert on you. So it's not my place to judge or assume or give advice on what's best for you. You know what's best for you. So who better to talk to than yourself?
Who better to talk to than myself? Don't get me wrong, I love mirror work, but sometimes we need a little interpersonal connection too. Here's Dorothy Santos with the skinny on some of our modern dating practices.
It's 3 a.m. and you're having a sleepless night. You can't work or read anything online because your brain is just not functioning in that particular capacity. If you don't already have a Tinder profile, you go ahead and create one. It's something for you to do. You're bored, but you want connection. Either way, creating your profile becomes an awkward exercise of the ego and modesty, or witty self-deprecation and vulnerability. But it wasn't always like this. In Maura Weigel's book, Labor of Love, The Invention of Dating, she does a fantastic job of taking us through the history of, you guessed it, dating. Her writing and research looks at gender performativity and the ways economics, culture, and political climate dictate the way people dated and still date. She also includes a good dose of LGBTQ history in Labor of Love. Here's a little fact from the book. Apparently, in 1896, the first instance of the word dating in media, was used by writer George Ade in a column he wrote for the Chicago Record of his observations of the lives of the working class. This led me to think about how gender norms were created and perpetuated. Men have always, in many cases, still make way more money than women. Gender inequality has certainly shaped the way people date. One of the funny metaphors Weigel brings up is dating being a lot like an unpaid internship. There's so much truth to that. Yet, there's also culture and family to take into account, and how these factors play a huge role in the way we participate in the larger scheme of dating. There's still analog ways to meet people, through friends, or even meetup gatherings, but let's face it, there are many people that still believe in the binary gender normativity that women ought to be chaste. But what about queer trans women of color and people of color? How do they navigate romantic relationships and dating online and in physical spaces and places that weren't originally created for them? Historically, a lot of dedicated spaces have been created to address this, but it's still very important to recognize. I think that's one of the reasons why mobile technology allows a type of accessibility and even gamification to socialization. Okay, dating. Now, I can't talk about dating rituals without bringing up a recent article published on Valentine's Day. Actually, really well timed. On the Daily Beast, with the headline, "The First Black Bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay Breaks a Ridiculous Color Barrier." Aside from being a sensational headline, after 14 years, that's 33 seasons, of predominantly white men and women, there's finally a black bachelorette. Full disclosure, I've never seen an episode of the Bachelor franchise, so I won't speak to it in great detail. But I felt it was important to mention because primetime television serves the general public. And after 14 years, the majority of American public is still fed a specific way that dating ought to look and feel like. For the record, I've never, ever in my life worn a gown on a date, and I only know that gowns are worn on these dates because I forced myself to watch one of the trailers of last season's The Bachelor. Unless you count a prom dress, and that doesn't count. Anyway, reality dating shows have been around for a while. The Dating Game, where 3 bachelors are behind a wall and a bachelorette asks questions and blindly selects a contestant based on their answer to her questions, was first televised in 1965. All this being said, while many people I've spoken to claim that they don't like dating, as a culture, we sure like consuming media about dating and romance, no matter how it's packaged. So let me pivot towards contemporary dating rituals, if I can even say that there are rituals and they exist. Online dating sites like eHarmony, Match, and mobile apps such as Tinder, OkCupid, Coffee Meets Bagel, Bumble, Hinge, Grindr, and the list goes on, mediate our identities to a certain extent, but also allows a type of weeding out process that is immediate and may be helpful for folks interested in something long-term, or not. In the fall of 2015, writers Alicia Eller and Eve Pazer co-wrote an article titled How to Win Tinder. And one of the most striking things they wrote that speaks to our digital life and engagement with our smartphones and how it's become ritualistic really resonated. So let me read you that excerpt. Tinder playtime takes over the time of solitary relaxation, self-reflection, and decompression from the day's events. It is often played in transit, on a bus or train, times otherwise reserved for reading or texting or watching TV. I actually Tindered while watching my favorite show and while having a conversation with a friend. Those narratives fading in favor of fragmented ones with a stream of strangers. It's funny when I think about the term rituals in relationship to dating, because I think we all engage in habits that work for us to get us to a desired outcome. But I can't really say I believe in rituals anymore, to be honest. I definitely agree with Weigel. Economics, culture, and politics really dictate the way we connect, date, have sex, and find love. Just the other day, I saw a friend of a friend express on social media her disappointment when she found out that the person she was wildly attracted to and had a crush on is a Republican. Insert flushed big-eyed emoji face right here. I will say, when I'm the only one on the train that is looking at everyone else looking at their phones and swiping up and down, left and right, a part of me wishes we could remix dating rituals or rethink the way we connect. Yet how do we remix the painfully stereotypical romantic scenario of, I saw her standing across the room? By the way, I'm addicted to how we met stories, but that's a whole other episode. Anyway, before I go, do you have rituals? What are they? How would you re-envision them? Nika and I would love to hear your stories. Till next time, take care, be well.
You can listen to the ItCast monthly for more real talk on sex. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page, and join the discussion group at the ItCast. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the person who shared them and do not necessarily reflect the official position of the ItCast or its producers. You can follow Nina Joyner on Twitter at Fillmore510. Learn more about somatics at www.generativesomatics.com. For a full list of resources referenced here, please go to our Facebook page, The ItCast, real talk about all things sexual. Follow me on Twitter at Nika Sherrill.
Music for this episode was contributed by Mariont Beats, DangerBell, D-Tunes, Chris Allory, and Ryan Dennison.
The ItCast is produced each month by co-host Dorothy Santos, senior producer Christine Trudeau, associate producer and community outreach manager Anissa Driver, the twins Melanie and Melora Green, and me, your host and creator, Nika Sherrill.